So the Supreme Court has ruled against the Republican Party's sweeping tariffs, which I think could be expected. I think honestly could be expected. This is an election year, and so what's going to happen? You're going to see is they're going to drop the tariffs, and then prices are going to get a little bit better. It depends on if the companies decide to do that or not. But I think a lot will because they want to keep Trump in power. They want to keep the Republican Party in power because it makes them more money. And I think you're going to see prices go down a little bit in some areas. And then what the Republican Party is going to do is they're going to hold up the little pen light with the red blinking light and say, forget about everything that happened before now, how they were fully supportive of tariffs, about a tax on you. They were fully supportive of a tax on you, me, to the tune of 187 billion, if not more. Some people have estimated it's been 250. We paid that tax. They taxed us. They taxed us to get more money, not money that came back into Medicare or social services or anything like that, or in a higher minimum wage. They took that money from us. And now in an election year, the Supreme Court came out and said, okay, we need to lower prices a little bit. And I do. I think the companies will a little bit so that everybody who's not paying attention goes, hey, things are getting better. Like, hey, way to go. Great economy, Republican Party. What the actual fuck? And we're going to witness this. And they're going to all tell you not to remember the fact that they taxed us. They taxed us. We should never have been paying those tariffs in the first place. We should never have been paying that extra money. And now that we might not pay as much, they're going to say, look how great the economy is doing because of President Donald J. Trump. That's the kind of bullshit that we're going to get into. So remember their names. Remember all of them, who said bupkis about the tariffs up until an election year for the midterms. And the Supreme Court keeps swooping in. And I mentioned this in an earlier post a while back that the Supreme Court was probably going to come swooping in and help the Republican Party. And Trump may have known about this too. Take all the money, take 175 to 250 billion dollars from the American citizens, us American citizens, and use it for tax cuts for the rich, or to help build a ballroom, or to fund ICE, which is killing people in the streets, right? And then during the year of elections, drop the tariffs, right? Supreme Court comes in, Trump doesn't look weak because the Supreme Court did it, nothing I can do. And then prices go down a little bit. And then they all start to go, look at the economy, look how great it's going. Even though we just got indications that the economy slowed, drastically in the fourth quarter of last year. But watch what they do. Remember what they did. They taxed us. They took our money, 200 billion, give or take, $200 billion from us. Average household paid an extra $1,000, and that was going up to $1,300 this year. And so the Supreme Court came in and said it's an election year. We're going to drop these tariffs. We're going to try to make things a little bit better. And I do think most of the companies will keep some of that profit and not give it back to us. This money, which potentially, they refund the money to the importers. That's not us who paid it. They're going to pay it back to the importers, and it's up to them how far they're going to lower those prices. It's a fucking game. It's a fucking game. They are going to beg you not to remember that they taxed us for 200 billion. They're going to beg that you not remember that when it comes to November. So, yeah, Supreme Court has dropped by a 6-3 decision, striking down the reciprocal tariffs and offering up a big old softball for the Republicans. But it's up to you if you're going to buy it, if you're going to buy their bullshit now. So just be aware. Thanks.